Seen my channel, you know I like to do a lot of adventure content. This video series, however, is going to be slightly different. Why not? Let's try to convert my 2010 Chrysler Town & Country into a micro camper or a tiny house on wheels. Now, this is a minivan. It's going to be a slightly different build. I'm very, very cheap. Also, something to note, I will not be damaging the van itself, so I would like to be able to convert it back to a regular minivan if I ever needed to. So everything that I'm going to be doing is going to be done economically and basically as easy as possible. It's pretty much just me doing the build. So let's get into it. Okay, step number 2 is going to be taking out all your internal hardware that's going to get in the way. So for me, that's going to look like this interior center console here. These stow and go seats, one in the front, one in the back, as well as this seat belt. Other than that, everything's gonna stay right about the same. Okay, so we took this one out as the guinea pig, tested it out. There's 3 screws here that you have to remove, and we also loosened this framework here to be able to pop out the seat itself. I also took off the top flap just on this side by unscrewing these 4 screws from there, and that's what we're gonna be doing on this side as well. I'm gonna be able to put lots of stuff in here. It's like a basement. Now I've got to do this back one. Wish me luck. Alright, yeah, we're going around looking for pallets. Hopefully we can find some free wood. Alright, look, these are good ones too. We've got a few pretty good ones here. Places where you guys can usually find pallets are behind like businesses like Lowe's, larger grocery stores, liquor stores. Anything that pretty much buys inventory in bulk will come on one of these wooden pallets here. So obviously not all of the wood is great, but some of them are some pretty valuable pieces. We hit the jackpot.
What is this? Let me see.
What? Look at all that.
Oh yeah, that is hella wood, yeah.
Look at this. Look at this wood. Oh, this was used for something in the ground. It's a little dirty, but it's not bad. That's great. And look at what this has on it right here.
Hinges.
Hinges. What? I'm not buying anything. Look at this. Look at all of that. Alright, this is all the wood that we've got after about 4 pallets. Obviously we've had a lot of scrap that we didn't need, just a lot of flimsy nail gross wood. But this is some really good wood here. We got some 2x4s. A lot of good stuff. Here's basic layout of the project. Obviously not everything is hooked up. My van has a slight slope here. Let me remove one of these. This is the wood again that I found from the deck. My van has a slight slope here. So to try and combat that slope, I've added some support beams. This is 2 2x4s, right like that. This is additionally 2 2x4s, followed by 1 2x4 and another single 2x4. As I said, this was cut from a deck, so they are divided in 2 here. So I'm gonna have to line up all of these 2x4s to be equal along the sides, the measurements that I need them to be. And then I'm gonna have to attach the two together somehow. So let's get into it. Because I had two boards that were medium length, they were too long close together. I've got them divided with numbers. You can see this is the one side. This right here is going to be the two side. Twos are going to be 25 inches. Ones right here are going to be about 21.5 inches. So that's how we've got them divided up. Twos and ones. You're also going to see here we've got one thin, longer piece with two different measurements. That's because the boards weren't lining up equally with what I've got here. I'm going to be attacking this one first. I'm not as worried about filling in these gaps because I don't need to. So I'm going to leave these gaps here. It's just connecting the 2x4s to this section. So I only put in 4 screws for this to connect them. Like I said, I don't mind that there's this gap here. It's not going to impact my build at all. If anything, it makes it easier to take apart when I'm done using the van this way. One right here, another right here, another there, another there. All right, second beam, similar to this one here, is going to have a gap in it. This one, the wood that I picked up, is kind of rotted and jaded here, but that's totally fine for what we're looking to do. Screw point is going to be here. One here and another one over there. So again, 4 simple screws. I've got my 4 supports. These 2 are hunkered down. These 2 are just going to be solo. So now that I've got everything cut and lined up ready to go, this part, don't worry, it's okay, don't freak out, the board will cover it. However, this part is all lined up, ready to go. I've got a board under here. Both of these are going to be screwed into this one. I'm going to go through and just make sure that everything fits the way that I want it to before I start screwing in. 2s are the longer section, 1s are the shorter ones up top there. 2s are going to get screws in all 3 of the platforms, so it's going to look like 1, 2, and then 3. I took out a middle board here just so I could kind of look parallel. Long, big screws for what was going in the 2 2x4s. However, smaller, shorter, thinner screws are going to be going in these top boards. Once you've gone through, screwed in all of your 2s, then you could go in and start doing your 1s. So as I said, pick up the board next to it as you're going in and screwing so that you can see where those gaps are. Once you've got 1s screwed in, there's a conjoining board here, so they're all good. You should have a solid, stable floor. Then you're gonna go through and you want to fill in these little gaps here. Find a big board, line it up as far as it'll go up here. Sorry if there's a little triangle, we'll do that in a sec. And then you're gonna mark it off, so it's gonna line up equal with these ones. This lip coming out about probably a foot from the bottom here. So here's the bottom, and then you can see got a little roof up here. So we're going to be reinforcing it with a little reinforcement, I guess, that we built. So there's another beam right here, one in the middle that goes down the side for support, which is composed of 2 smaller pieces of wood, and then a similar one that looks like the top down here at the bottom. They've got these little grooves in it, so if we need to fit in, you know, food and shit, it'll be good. from the free wood that we got from the deck. As you can tell, that's why it's super solid. All the screws, however, I did steal from my papa's garage. So I don't really know how much the screws cost. But again, this is all the free wood that we use. All the material's been free. In addition, we've got a chunk of linoleum. Again, I found this in my grandparents' garage. However, you can find this kind of stuff on the side of the road all day, every day. This is linoleum that we're going to be putting over top of the wood that we've got. So it's going to smooth all those edges out. That's why it looks a little rough over there, but I'm not super worried about it because this is going to cover up the texture. So because this is a longer, thinner piece, I've measured out the width of my wood from this point to that point, and I'm going to do it this way and then this way, similar over the directions of the boards here where there's a divide. Is probably around where I'm going to do the divide, just because I'm looking when I sweep it and stuff, I don't want to deal with a seam in the middle when I sweep, or if anything gets wet, God forbid. So there, that's good. So we've gone through, stapled this to the bottom, come back at that angle at the top here. We found a staple gun, so that's what we're working with. We're leaving this part open in the center for now, and we're layering over the two pieces like that. Boom, boom. Then we're coming through, we've done the same thing to this side, put staples in on the bottom here and kind of wrapped it around. Staples on top, staples on the bottom. And this section is going under. After you get the linoleum cut and sized through, I added a little lip to mine so it comes up slightly, so if there's any moisture or dirt, it's not going to fall in the cracks here. It's going to kind of be brought up. I made a staple seam. See, I made a staple seam throughout the entirety of the linoleum. I attached these two right here. I'm probably going to stick some tape over it. Attach these two right here. And she's working on the lip, so making this a nice little edged off lip. So as you can see, there's still going to be access to the stow and go seating. Still tons of storage space. So with this little elevated section here, some storage for really small stuff. There's also a vent over there, so you can see that there's a vent, so this whole bottom part is going to remain ventilated. Also, the whole thing took us probably around 4 hours, I would say. Not the disassembling of the wood and stuff, but the assembly of the floor took us about 4 hours.